and Community Service, otherwise known as Volunteer NC. Thank you so much for attending this presentation. I want to let you know that the presentation is being recorded and will be available, will be posted on the Volunteer NC website, so that future applicants for VGF funding, that Volunteer Generation Fund grants, will be able to get this information. Bryles Johnson is on as well. She's assisting me with the technical details with running. The North Carolina Commission on Volunteerism and Community Service, or Volunteer NC, is funded by what used to be known as the Corporation for National and Community Service, or CNCS. They've just changed their name to AmeriCorps. I may use those terms interchangeably because I'm not quite used to the AmeriCorps branding yet. Volunteer NC roles in North Carolina: we are the lead agency in donations and volunteers during disasters. We administer AmeriCorps state programs through the AmeriCorps National Program, and we support and encourage volunteerism. Our goal, as stated in our state service plan, is to increase volunteerism by improving knowledge and awareness of the Commission and fostering communication and collaboration with partners in communities across North Carolina. And so that's part of what we're doing here today. We're encouraging collaboration and cooperation with you. Our priority areas are national service, volunteerism, disaster and training, and partnerships. VGF, the Volunteer Generation Fund, is a new grant that was recently awarded to us and will be used to develop and/or support community-based entities to recruit, manage, and support volunteers. Our focus is on strengthening capacity of organizations and developing strategies to use volunteers to solve community problems. So VGF is basically intended to fund long-lasting program expansions, not just individual time-limited programs. We are limited to the focus areas and activities that were in our VGF grant application. Those activities are listed in our NOFO, our Notice of Funding Opportunity, which is available on our website, and I'm going to be explaining those in more detail in this webinar. We arrived at these areas based on the CNCS AmeriCorps focus areas and the priority areas that are in our state service plan. The state service plan is also available for review on our website, and we are actually going to be in the process in 2021 of renewing our state service plan. It's a 3-year living document. If you'd like information, or if you would like to contribute to our state service plan for the upcoming 3 years, please contact us, volunteernc@nc.gov. We would love your input. We will be using the chat function. Bryles will read the questions and can unmute you if you have follow-up questions. If you prefer, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you for questions in that way. Again, this is being recorded for further use. Okay, without delay. The priority areas that we set out in our grant were Service Enterprise Initiative, corporate engagement, youth engagement, COVID response, volunteer expos, training, and disaster. Some of the activities we were pursuing as a commission, and they are just more appropriately funded under VGF. In order to accomplish them, we are making some of these grants available to our community partners. Other activities, such as the COVID response and the disaster response, are new programs that we're excited to be able to pursue, and we hope will have a really important impact, large impact on state of North Carolina. Okay, to start out, Service Enterprise Initiative is an intensive training program run by Points of Light, which is a national nonprofit dedicated to engaging people and resources in solving social problems through voluntary service. Volunteer North Carolina has actually been funding SEI Training for several years, but again, it's more appropriately funded under the VGF grant. We have 2 organizations in North Carolina that are approved to administer SEI Training. They are Hands On Northwest North Carolina and the Triangle Nonprofit and Volunteer Leadership Center. Funding is going to continue to go to these 2 organizations to provide SEI Training. You can contact them for more information if you are interested in having your organization participate in SEI Training. I believe that their fall cohort is full, but they are planning recruiting and organizing for their spring cohort. So their contact information is on the slide right now. Okay, the next area that we have is corporate engagement. We have 3 different areas. We want to engage retirees through corporate HR departments so that when people are getting ready to retire, they would receive an information packet that lets them know about the benefits of volunteerism and also some areas that they are able to volunteer within their communities. We'd also like to train corporate leaders in disaster response roles and then encourage their employees to serve together as teams. They can use these as team building activities. And again, that would help with our corporate engagement during disaster. We're also creating a new program within the governor's office to recognize businesses for employee volunteerism. It's not completely set out yet, but we'll have things like gold, silver, and platinum levels based on the employee volunteer engagement or business support of volunteerism, such as whether they provide time off for volunteerism. I'm going to pause here really quickly and see if you all have any questions about either the corporate engagement or SEI. Okay, not seeing any questions, I'll move on. Youth engagement. Studies show that engaging people in volunteerism at a younger age results in a habit of lifelong volunteering, and that's really what we want to build in North Carolina, is people who are in the habit of volunteering and do so on a recurring basis. And volunteer leadership programs provide professional development. They allow youth to practice skills such as public speaking, collaborative working, problem solving, and organizational skills. And it allows this in a safe and nurturing environment. Unfortunately, these programs are not typically available to all individuals because they can be relatively pricey. So we are offering scholarships for youth service and leadership trainings. These scholarships are available to nonprofits that offer youth leadership programs and camps. The scholarships are not going to be dispersed to individuals. If you have an organization that provides some type of youth programming, this would be a grant opportunity that would be available to you. We would like to focus the opportunities for youth who are usually unable to participate in these types of programs due to financial reasons. Okay, the COVID response is a new program in Volunteer NC geared at allowing organizations to either expand their service to address COVID-related community needs or to expand a new service area. So we are looking for an expansion of something that you're not currently doing for this COVID response position. We are basically supporting paid positions in nonprofits that will identify problems or issues in communities, plan activities to address the problems, recruit volunteers to serve and administer service programs, and then the volunteer coordinator will also have to track volunteer hours or impact on the community. And again, the whole VGF concept is an emphasis on volunteer recruitment and engagement. So we are looking for an overall increase in volunteerism to engage more volunteers and create what are going to be sustainable programs within communities. Okay, volunteer expos. We had planned on doing volunteer expos in person, where it would be like a career fair or a business fair where you could go in and talk to different businesses. Only in this case, you would go in to talk to different nonprofit organizations that have volunteer opportunities available. Obviously, we've had to switch those to virtual. So we are looking for partner organizations that will assist us in implementing and planning these volunteer expos. We would provide the template and the WebEx platform, and our partner organizations would engage volunteer organizations in the community and would advertise. And we would like for people to focus on COVID-related issues, prioritizing things like food insecurity, health services, education support, or disaster response. The partner organization and participating nonprofits would both advertise the expo in their communities. We would envision there would be a panel where the participating nonprofits would speak for 3 to 5 minutes and just give some basic background about their organization. And then there would be breakout sessions, breakout rooms where potential volunteers would have the ability to go in and ask specific questions. And we would hope that volunteers would then learn about, connect with the local nonprofits, increase the likelihood that they would serve in their communities. Okay, trainings is an existing focus area. We currently work with our community partners to provide trainings that are available to all nonprofits. This would be an expansion of different types of trainings. We do envision partnerships with organizations such as the North Carolina Association of Volunteer Administrators, the North Carolina Rural Center, Institute for Emerging Issues, NCVOAD. The thing about the trainings is they're not intended to be in-house trainings for a particular nonprofit, but they're intended to be trainings that are available to many nonprofits, either within a particular geographic area to build collaboration and community building, or statewide, since now we have the opportunity to do everything virtually. Some suggested topics would be volunteer recruitment and management, board development, social media and marketing, fundraising, financial policies, human resource basics, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Once we have some of these trainings planned, they will be posted on our website. If you're interested in attending any of these trainings, if you will go to our website and sign up for the grant opportunities, we'll be advertising them along with our grant opportunities. Okay, and again, individual nonprofits can apply for these training grants, but funding will only be approved if the training is open to other nonprofits and not just used for in-house purposes. If you're interested in solely in-house trainings, again, I'd refer you to the SEI programs through Hands-On Northwest North Carolina or the Triangle Nonprofit and Volunteer Leadership Center. Okay, our last focus area is disaster response. When I came on board a little over a year ago, I became aware of the number of families who are still living in the FEMA mobile housing units. In the beginning of 2020, there were 300 homes that still required repair. And even before the COVID pandemic, lack of volunteers was one of the largest reasons, one of the biggest holdups on getting people back in their homes. So Volunteer North Carolina, Volunteer NC proposes funding 5 different positions that would recruit and match volunteers with recovery and rebuilding organizations within the state. We will partially fund these 5 positions, and the other portion of the salaries and benefits package will come from community organizations involved in recovery and rebuild activities. This portion of the VGF grant is open by invitation only to consortiums of organizations, and the positions need to cover a particular geographic region. We're going to talk about this in just a little more detail in just a moment. I just want to summarize and remind you all about VGF. We are limited in the activities that we fund. The activities are all summarized on the VGF NOFO, which is available on our website. And if you have any questions about VGF in general or any of the focus areas, I'll take them now.
Hey, so if anybody has a question, just go ahead and put it into the chat function or raise your hand before we start on the next section.
Okay, our website is nc.gov/volunteer.
Okay, that looks like, so let's see, is the award amount the same for each grant activity?
Award amounts will be based on the proposed budget. So we're asking for a proposed budget for each grant activity. Within Volunteer NC, within our grants, we have different amounts allocated for each individual activity. And I'm afraid I don't have the numbers available off the top of my head. We anticipate the grant amounts will probably be between like $5,000 and $10,000. Maximum grant amount would be $25,000. Grants under $5,000, just there is an administrative burden to having a federal grant. And I should have said earlier, these are reimbursement grants. So you need to spend the money first and then submit invoices to Volunteer NC to get reimbursed, get payment for the funds. And below $5,000, it just really isn't cost effective to run this sort of a grant.
Okay, it looks like that's it for questions. Colleen, give me just 1 second to
Okay.
start the recording.